I would submit to you that venture capital has largely retreated in recent years from very early stage investing in medical technologies. Now, that's not entirely true, and there are exceptions, but I think it's quite different from what it used to be. I think for both good and bad reasons, venture capital now is looking not only in other areas, but in medical devices at later stage things. So there is this gap that becomes a problem for early stage companies, the so-called valley of death. How do you fund those early trials, the major animal work? High net worth individuals, as they're called, meaning rich folks, who have made their fortune often in entrepreneurial ventures, often in real estate or chains of restaurants or dry cleaners. They get together for dinner and they invite an entrepreneur to pitch the business idea, and people who like it will open their checkbooks and write a check for $10,000 or $20,000, and the entrepreneur thusly has collected his or her $100,000 to do that, let's say, prototype development. But in Boston and San Francisco today, angel capital has become very organized. Organized angel capital groups have their own offices, they have paid staff, they're doing similar kinds of screening and diligence as VCs, and it's become kind of a micro VC thing. So I would say to you that today, unlike a few years ago, if you're looking for a Series A of $1 or $2 or $3 or $4 million, what used to be a VC play is now an organized angel capital play. And I would further say, as my little light green arrow there extends to the far right, angel capital now has become aware that they would like to take their investments all the way to liquidity. That's liquidity for them, not necessarily for you, and it is definitely not necessarily to market launch. It's most often to some deal with a strategic. But they're not so inclined, as you might have thought, to proceed venture capital. That notion that you raise some angel capital to do some stuff and then you raise some venture capital, I would say is pretty much not right. That the angel capitalists no longer wish to precede venture capital investors. And there are a couple of reasons for that. There are risks associated with that. I'm starting to get the hang of this. But what's really just intolerable to us is when we fund experiments that work and then we're stuck because nobody has the $25 million to take it to the next step. We don't, you didn't think about it, you don't have anybody lined up, and we've just spent this money for nothing. So that risk, that financing risk, we really hate. And hence what kind of investors you should be seeking. I would encourage you to reject this model that you're going to do angel and then VCs. Think, are you a company that can bootstrap and self-fund? Are you looking for angel capital, or are you looking for VC capital? And where's the break even? A little bit hard to say, there's overlap, but it's probably around the $10 million range, which is quite a change from some years ago. The primary rule, I would say, is make sure to get a warm introduction. A good business plan that comes in over the transom is almost always ignored. And I'm sorry that's true, but I think it's so. I think if you don't have an introduction or reference, your business plan is not likely to get a lot of attention. And these prospective investors are being so hard on you and making you go through the paces and jump through hoops. You should also be screening them, because not all investors are equal. Some investors are going to provide you some capital and then otherwise just be demanding and just be a pain in the neck. And there are other investors who can bring you a lot besides capital. They can help you with advice and counsel. They can provide you management candidates and regulatory experts. They can provide you advice on such a range of things. They can provide you customer leads. And those are the kinds of investors you want. So I guess my final advice is to select your investors just as they're selecting you, because the worst ones are a pain in the neck, and the best ones are just more valuable than rubies and can be lasting relationships.